this is Brian Van from Sport Bike Track Gear, sportbiketrackgear.com, and
I'm Phil Davey. I'm the brand manager for Icon Motorsports.
It's good to meet you, Phil.
Good to meet you.
I've really met him a couple of times before, okay?
We're lying.
Exactly. Okay, Icon Apparel,
yes.
All right? I think there's a lot of people out there that know I'm a fan. I'm not a huge street rider, but if I was, I think I would have at least 10 different jackets that I would rotate through because you guys make some of the absolute most comfortable, functional, coolest looking stuff out there.
Yeah.
And, oh geez, it's also protective. Isn't that insane?
Yeah. You know, some people get a misconception with Icon. We don't make race apparel, so therefore, how could we possibly be safe? Our products look so good that apparently somebody thinks that it doesn't function correctly. I can tell you this, as Kurt, the designer, and I were the first Icon employees, and I can tell you from day one what we've always tried to do was develop protective gear, head to toe. That's all we want to do, protective gear. But we realize that a lot of people don't buy protective gear.
They buy cool looking stuff.
They buy cool looking stuff.
Exactly.
So therefore, when we market our product as stuff that looks really cool, when you see ads where we talk about how cool the product looks and we show people doing crazy things wearing stuff that looks cool, but we don't talk about the protective nature or the CE armor in our product, don't assume that it's not there. What we're doing is we're just trying to use the fashion of the product to get it on people who weren't going to buy it already anyway. It's an unfortunate circumstance, and any of you guys that live in the states where there's no helmet law, you see it all the time. Why do people not wear protective gear? Why don't they make that decision? Well, we felt that one of the reasons why was because maybe they thought they looked like a geek in somebody else's stuff. We reached out to those people and pushed the fashion forward. But that doesn't mean the function is not built into the product. As a matter of fact, we've drawn the line very, very clearly and succinctly to make sure that we build all that function into the product.
Why don't you have a half helmet? I mean, that would go great with a lot of your coats, right?
Half helmets cover half your head. Which half are you going to crash on?
I just had to lead him into that one because we've been down that road before, and we don't really promote any half helmets here.
Yeah.
You know, there's only even one that we kind of offer from another brand, so very, very little. Personally, myself, I won't do any riding on anything with two wheels and an engine that does not have a chin bar on the helmet. End of story.
Yeah.
I ride my 50cc bike with my 3-year-old son around our motocross track in our backyard in our subdivision. Neighbors love us. I put a pipe on it too, by the way. And then we ride, through the streets. They really enjoy that too. Dad's got on a full-face helmet.
Yeah.
Kid is dressed head to toe in safety.
Yeah.
Well, he's 3. That's a big crash for him. Me, I at least need to make sure this is good to go on the 50.
Yeah.
I get on the road, even on a Zuma, I'm going to have on a full-face helmet. I'm going to have on minimally a jacket and gloves. Minimum.
Yeah.
I ride a motorcycle. I'm going to have knee protection, a jacket, full-face helmet, gloves, and some type of riding boots and or shoes that are going to have typically a shank and cover the ankle.
Yeah. And it's ironic that when you get into the street apparel market like Icon is, that we prefer that our product doesn't get used. In other words, it doesn't hit the ground. But it does, and it's going to. And we've sold enough product that a lot of it comes back to us, or photos come back from people. And when we see photo after photo after photo of people sending us in something that said, "Thank you for saving my life," and the front of the helmet is scratched completely all the way down the front. The shield has been ripped off. The front chin bar is enormously damaged. What would have happened to that guy's face?
In a half helmet.
In a half helmet. What would have happened if he didn't have the helmet on at all? Well, he certainly wouldn't be writing us a letter. It's a very unfortunate circumstance that sometimes people put on something that they believe is protective, but it's the minimum level, and we try to make sure that we don't make products like that, and that's why there is no helmet, half-shell helmet in our line, and we could make a lot of money selling. But we just choose not to.
They outsell full-face helmets. There's
Absolutely.
no doubt about it. They way outsell full-face helmets.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get my own father to take off that half helmet and put on a full-face helmet. And this is what I do for a living, for God's sake. It took a lot of convincing, and some people, they just don't realize that, maybe this stuff up here should kind of be covered too, because believe you me, when you're heading towards the ground, you can't always choose how you're gonna hit. I've fallen off of a motorcycle many times, most often on a racetrack, thank God, in complete protective gear. always,
Yeah.
all the time.
And an ambulance there to take you away if you
In case something, thank God I've never needed that one.
Yeah.
And let's hope that I never do. But, you know, what I want to express to everyone, and this is one of the reasons we're really big fans of Icon. From the first time I met this guy here, and one of our first conversations is he was using words like function and protective, and talking about the things that he's putting into the apparel and the way he's designing the helmets. And he wasn't really talking about the graphics and that stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's not what I expected. So my concept with this video was to just let you guys hear some of his words and understand what Icon really stems from, where it comes from. And by the way, I think they make some of the absolute coolest looking stuff out there, bar none. You know, we have some products of yours here that sell famously for us, like none of your riding pants. How come you don't put pads in the knees? I mean, wouldn't that help if you fell?
And that's an interesting point too, and we do really try to think these things through. We felt that putting armor in the knee of a jean was a false sense of security. And what I mean by that is, okay, your jeans, they're loose. They're loose on your leg. You put a piece of armor in there that's about 5 inches wide. It takes approximately 1/100th of a second to yank that away out of the way in the event of a crash. You don't even get a chance to crash and land on it. It's too loose on your leg. So we designed, instead of making something like that we again felt was a false sense of security by putting it in there. In other words, the person bought that product and says, I'm protected.
Because there's a piece of knee armor. Can't you see that knee armor in these pants right here?
But when you crashed, it wasn't where you wanted it to be.
Exactly.
It wasn't even there for the first impact, more or less the second or the slide or the abrasion. What we did was we made a product that goes underneath your jeans. That's why quite often you don't see it. But Brian knows it's a very good selling item.
It's a very good selling item.
It goes directly on your leg. It straps directly on your leg. You put your abrasion-resistant jeans on it. From Icon or for another brand, doesn't matter.
It could be Levi's, for God's sake, and you have the real protection now is underneath. It's fixed to the area where it needs to stay.
Yeah.
Knee and shin.
And putting those protective pieces on your body is critical. And it doesn't make you look like a geek. We made this particularly to go on underneath your jeans. You can put it on. You can put it on if you're commuting to work and you got to wear your Dockers at work or something like that. Nobody even knows you have these things on. I mean, that's been part of what we've been trying to accomplish for a long, long time with Icon's version of motorcycle protective gear. Is a little more stealthy in some of the products, very, very bold and bright in some of the other products, but it's almost like a trick to get protective gear on riders that wouldn't have bought it otherwise. And that's why, honestly, we're fairly proud of our product line, because we know we've reached out to some of those people. We know the quantities that we sell of some of these items, and we know that they don't have a lot of competition in the marketplace. So we've brought protective items to a lot of these people, and that's what makes us proud, and that's what makes us happy, not just the bling factor, which is still cool.
It is very cool. Like, for example, that leg armor, we're a relatively high volume shop, and that leg armor, I believe, I talked to the rep too and verified it, I think we keep 13 on the shelf, and that's something that, you know, in my weekly tasks, I refill all that, and we have enough history of that product that I have to have a minimum level of 13 pieces of leg armor. And that's because it's very functional, it's very cool, it's very protective, and a lot of people are showing interest in this stuff now big time, because they've realized falling off a motorcycle, it could actually hurt when you know, kind of land on the ground. So, like I said, the whole idea for this video is so you can hear his words too, and kind of, you know, get the fact that Icon is much more than just what you see on the outside. There's a lot going on from the inside out to help make your experience on a motorcycle better.
Yeah. We're motorcyclists, you're motorcyclists, you're one of us. We're reaching out to people that, as one motorcyclist to another. That's what we're doing.
It's kind of considering, you know, a phrase I like to use, you're taking the human dimension and bringing it into the protective arena.
Yeah, and it's not like we don't like racers, but we don't make that product. You want to buy a good road racing suit? Buy an Alpine Star. They make a fantastic one. We don't make it, but don't let that sway your judgment to think that we can't or that we won't. We just don't. We chose
not to. That's not your market.
Exactly.
You guys have created your own market, in my opinion. There's nothing out there that looks or feels like Icon, all the cool details, and I'm impressed. I'm a fan. I appreciate the time today, Phil.
Thank you for the time, Brian.
And thank you.